Hi everyone, it's Dee Slater with Create with Dee. Welcome to my channel. So glad that you're here. We are going to have a fun day today. I'm going to be making 3 cards. I know, right? 3 of them. It is my November 2025 creative class. It features Snowy Delight bundle and especially the Snowy Delight mask, decorative mask. And so I'm going to show you 3 cards that you can make using this set of products. And if you're interested and you live in the US with a US address, you can also get a class kit to go if you're interested. As always, when you come on, if you'd like to say hi and let me know where you're watching from, I'm here in Northeast Indiana in a city called Kendallville, which is north of Fort Wayne. And let me know where you're watching from. So let's get started right away. I know people are getting notifications and everything. So kind of just do a little bit of talking and then we'll dive right in. Okay, we're going to be making 3 cards here today. And we're going to be using the Snowy Delight bundle. And we've got glitz and glam on these cards. So these would be cards that you can use for some wintry cards. Definitely you could switch out some sentiments for Christmas and the holidays if you want, but sometimes we need just the cards to send in the winter time too, and so that's what these are. Okay, I'm going to get started right away. Let me turn the camera around and we will get started. Hi Doreen, good morning. Thanks for watching live. Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, so I am using again the bundle Snowy Delights. It has this awesome focal point of a snowflake. It's bold and bright, and bold, and it's just great on it. The dies that are part of the bundle, will be using several of them. And let me just kind of show you what those look like. Okay, so awesome snowflake, large images with it, and 1 label. And we'll be using, I think, everything except for this die right here. And then the start of the show that I definitely want to feature is the Snowy Delight mask. If you do want to get the class kit to go, this would be part of the products that you would get. And I'll talk about some of the features as a standalone as we get going. I purposely did not clean these so they would be a little easier to see since I'll be doing a lot of white on white and we're doing all blue tones. But typically these would not be, you would clean them off with just soapy water when you're done. Okay, and we'll go over how to do that. All right, let's go ahead and we'll get started with our first card here today. Let me see where I want to put those. Okay, I won't be having the measurements up here today since it's part of a class that would get the PDF. But I'll talk about the measurements and you can always write those down. Okay, we're going to start with, we're going to make this card here first. It's a tone-on-tone card, so it's all Pool Party. So Pool Party cardstock and Pool Party ink. I'm going to start with our card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5. And ahead of time, I've got it scored at 2 1/8 and 4. Wait. Yes, that's true. So 4 1/4 and 1 1/8. Oh my gosh, 2 1/8. 2 1/8, 4 1/4. That was harder than what it needed to be. 4 1/4, or you could just put it at 4 1/4 and fold that back. But it ends up being 2 1/8. I need to get my tongue untied already today. Goodness. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put some layering elements down. Ahead of time, what I've done is I've embossed 2 strips of our Pool Party cardstock. These are 5 1/4 by 1 7/8 with the gently falling embossing folder. And I'm going to get my liquid glue and we'll get those down. Come on, liquid glue. Let's try another one. That one's clogged up. Let's try this one. There we go. There's the glop. Well, at the time of the video, in the US, we've got Thanksgiving next week. If you want, you can let me know on here if you're hosting Thanksgiving or what you're doing next week for the holiday. Okay, we'll put this down. We're just going to get some prep work done on our card here first. And here's another piece of our pool party cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4. Okay. All right, let's do some stamping. All right, with a piece of scrap white, this is approximately 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. We're going to take that large snowflake image and we are going to use our pool party. And we're going to get this all nice and inked up. And I do want to center this because we are going to die cut. I'm going to just make sure that that's all nice. Sometimes on the, there we go. Sometimes on the lighter inks, it's kind of hard to see if you've got the ink on there. All right, let's put this down. I have my foam pad here close by and I didn't even put it down. All right, let's do this again. I should have re-inked this ahead of time. I had local class. We did this Tuesday. Let me just get this going again. And let's try it one more time. There we go. Do I like that? It'll work. I was going to talk about re-inking and I should have done that ahead of time. Goodness. Always live, right? All right. For our mask, this is the fun part on it. We are, this is the decorative mask and it's notched up here so you know where like the right side is, and they're actually numbered. So this set of masks comes with 4 layering masks. And a mask is another name for a stencil. Okay, so if you remember, you know, some stencils back in school, it's a stencil. And I'm going to get some, you can use washi tape or something to kind of tape these down. So I'm going to go ahead and what I like to do is go ahead and anchor down the part that I'm going to color using mask and a blending brush. And then here's a tip for using and placing the mask. Once you get your mask lined up, and this is number 1. Okay, can you kind of see how that kind of went like it lined up with the stamped image? What is a helpful hint is if you have you know, a pencil or pen, go ahead and kind of put a little corner here so that it kind of helps you know where to line it up in the future and future ones, because sometimes that can be a little tricky to know how to line it up. So I'm gonna, once you get the mask to line up over the stamp, I'm just gonna anchor that down again. And we're going to reuse this. Basically, it's kind of like washi tape. It's removable tape from that 3M has. Okay, so now we're going to get our blending brush. And this is the small blending brush. I've got a brand new one here. And I'm just going to ink it up. And we just start to rub. We're just going to use a swirling motion to get the ink on. And if you are using different color inks, you want to start with your lightest ink is the normal. That way you're going to build darker colors on top. But this way we're just going to do a tone on tone. Okay, so we'll lift that up. And now we've got our first layer on. Whoops, I want to leave that down. Okay, next we're going to take number 2 and we'll layer that down too. And this is where our little marked guide can help. Kind of put it up there in the corner, but you do want to just verify on your image here where it lines up. And so on this one, they all kind of line up with the center ones. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. Once you get your first one, they all kind of line up. If you line up with those images, it really helps with that as a guide. Okay. All right, so we're doing tone on tone. So I'm just going to add some more to this. So we're layering on top of here. And the mask, what it does is it exposes the same and sometimes new areas so that you're building on top of what you have and you can get the two-tone look. Okay, so that's the second one. So on this, now we can see that it's really kind of building up our different images. So that's number 2. Now I'm going to do number 3. This one kind of has some tulipy looking ones. And again, here's my notch and kind of line those up. This one has some little 3 dots on it and it really just adds to the dimension on it. So one of the things that I'm discovering is, and this was some feedback that I got from my locals, this is the first time that I started using the small blending brushes. And it's very true. It seems like you have more control on the small ones on these masks. And so I'm going to be ordering some more for me. Ooh, look how pretty that is. See how we're getting tone on tone depth of color on that? Love it. That's number 3. And then this fourth one has like some little hearts. And the hearts are going to go on either side of the snowflake stems. And then some more dots up along the main vein of our snowflake. Okay, so let's just keep building that image. Okay. So that's our 4th and final one. Let me take these off so that we have it. Alrighty. So let me kind of show you what that looks like. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I'm going to die cut that out. So give me just a second. On the die cuts, the outlines, let's see here. Some of the snowflakes cut a little border and others go right up close to it. I'm using on this card the one that goes right up super close to the snowflake. So I'm gonna, actually I can take one of these little guys. And I got my die cutting machine just off camera. And we'll get this die cut. Line it up. And make my sandwich, my acrylic sandwich plates, run it through. Okay, and so there's some of our focal point image on that. Get this up. There we go. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use just the mask only for the inside. And so this is 5 by 3 3/4. And so this is, if you get the kit to go, or if you just get the decorative mask, you can use either number 1 or number 2 on here. And I'm going to actually use the number 2 mask. And this one, you don't have to, we're just going to do one mask technique on it. Oops. So we're not going to layer it. We're just going to put down an image. So I'll go ahead and get this down. We don't have to use the pencil mark on it because we're just doing it one time. And let's go ahead and we'll get this. I want to have a light touch on it. But if you get just the mask, if you get the kits, this is what you can do on the inside or the outside of your cards. They're just so pretty. It just kind of gives a little, again, it's a stencil look that you can use on the inside of your cards. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? I love it. I love it, love it. All right. I want these to be extra, extra sparkly. And so I have this little shimmer spray, and I've got my little spray booth right over here. I'm going to put them inside of it and spritz these. Just give a little extra sparkle to it. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's got a little bit. Okay, and let's see here. I've got one more stamping element. Oh, there it is. So again, I'm going tone on tone, and this says a warm hello. So I'm going to ink that up, and this is the little label that came with the die set. And we're ready to start putting this card together. Okay. So I'll get my liquid glue again, and we're going to put our inside white piece of cardstock that we just used our mask to create a background. I think putting the mask on the background is worth the price of admission for that. So pretty. And then I'm going to get some Stampin' Dimensionals. We'll put 2 on a warm hello. Again, this is the phrases in here are from the stamp set are mainly for just, the winter season. And then on the back side of this, now I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Typically, I might die cut another one out to cover up my boo-boo there. On the back left side, I'm going to put several dimensionals. So probably put about 5. Want it nice and supported. And get those. And so I want this to line up, like the center of it to line right up to the score line. Pretty. And then to even make it more razzle dazzle, I die cut out from one of the dies in the set out of Peaceful Garden shimmer paper or glimmer paper. And we're just going to put a little glue on that. So just get some of that on there. And we're going to overlay it onto our snowflake. So there's how that looks. So pretty, so pretty. And then let's go ahead and add some gems. I'm using the Frosted Iridescence. It has this pretty blue tones on it. And let's see, let me get my take your pick tool. And we're going to put some added little gems here. And that's the first card. Let me know what you think. Do you love it? It's so pretty. And that's just using one color of ink and cardstock color to do that. Okay, so that is our card 1. We've got 2 more to do. Let's put this one off to the side. Alrighty, our next card, we're going to do a lot of the same technique and everything with it. Let me get this out of here. Okay. Our next card is another Z-fold card. And this time we're going to use the outline die for that, as well as just feature the balmy blue. Okay, so we'll do that. And this time we're going to do an accent using an accent outline using Misty Moonlight. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and do our stamping here first. So again, starting with like a 4x4 piece of, or 4.5 by 4.5 piece of basic white cardstock. All of my my tack downs here. Okay, so this time, and let me go ahead and clean our main focal image. Get that all cleaned up. We are going to use Misty Moonlight as our outline. And now that one's nice and dark so you can kind of see where it is. And I'm going to stamp it up and down so that you can see that technique of how to place the mask a little differently here. Okay, we've got that. All right. So with our blending brushes, again for class, I wanted to stick all with the blue tones. All you have to do is have your scrap paper, like a printer paper, or I'm using the grid paper, and I'm just going to take some of this color off of the brush. Okay. And let's see, that's that for now. So now we can get our mask again. And I'm going to get them relined up to 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all of the notches are going in the same direction. And this time, like here's, like if you stamp it in this orientation, as you can see, like my mask is kind of at an angle. So I'll first get it lined up where I want it, anchor it down, and then take my pencil or pen and just kind of hit the corner so I know the direction that it goes in. All right, so now I'm going to use balmy blue. Yes, balmy blue. And go ahead and kind of prep my brush for a new color. And go ahead and we'll get our balmy blue down. Go. I have to put pressure on the brush. I'm using my pointer finger to add pressure to draw that ink that's embedded in the brush that I've been pulling up down. So as you can see, if I press harder, more of that ink transfers. Okay, so that's number 1. And then we'll take number 2. And see, if you didn't have this little mark here, you might be going, now where do I line it up with? If you just kind of push it right up to where your mark is, and then do a quick visual to double check it to make sure it's lining up. That's what we do. So we're just doing tone on tone. As far as all of our layering piece, our mask layer. Again, I can add more pressure to get more ink out of that brush. There's a lot of ink up in there. And the more that you go over it, the darker your image will be. So it just depends on if you want a dark background or like how much of a, what do I want to say, depth of color or darkness that you want. Here's number 3. These little tulip shapes are going to go into, again, these little bulb areas on the bottom of the snowflake. And it's got some 3 dots that's going to go up the stem. Let's see, that looks good. And you just kind of keep twisting it until it lines up. Oops, get that down. And so when I get to numbers 3 and 4 on here, this is where I really try to press, because I really want to have that ink come to the forefront. Okay, so do that. I don't know about you, but sometimes I find it relaxing to watch other people stamp. It kind of just, you know, again, it's kind of a relaxing item for me. And now here's number 4. There's smaller dots that will line up on the stem of the snowflake. And then the heart images here should go on either side of the stem. So it won't line up on the snowflake. It'll be in the blank areas. So it kind of adds to some snowflakey type of look to it. Whoops, that's not down. There we go. So really press. Okay, and then that's our 4th and final image. And let me go ahead and put this up to the camera now. So now you can kind of see all of that layers on it. So pretty. On this particular one now, I'm going to use the outline die. And with the outline, it's just going to give you some more white space there. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. So I'll be right back. And get this. So again, here's the outline, and then if you want to go up close to the snowflake, you can use the other layering one. So those are the 2 like outlines on it. All right, so let's go ahead and do some other stamping. For the sentiment, I'm going to get out the Misty Moonlight again. And this is sentiments from the stamp set. I'm going to use a wintry wish for a snowy delight, a winter wish for snowy delights. And this is from Nested Essential Dies. And we'll get that stamped. And then the inside of this says a winter wish for snowy delights with family, friends, and long peaceful nights. So again, it could be a holiday card. It could just be, you know, a hello card. And then going to get there's these little snowflakes that are so cute for accents. A little cluster of snowflakes. Get our balmy blue. And let's go ahead and put some of that down. Okay. And we're ready to put this card together. Starting with a piece of balmy blue cardstock, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. get that for our Z fold. Take some layering pieces of basic white, 4 by 2.5, 2 of them, again embossed with that snowflake embossing folder. And we'll put that down. So that's going to go onto the panels that we have here. So get that down. And then our inside panel, I didn't tell you what that is. That's 4 by 5 1/4. Get that. And I want some added little shimmer, so I'm going to use my little shimmer spray here that I've got. Got my little, I call it my paint booth. It just adds a little sparkle to it. I'll add where I get that in the comments later on of the video. And just like before, I'm going to put dimensionals on one side of it. And do that. Want to kind of stay away from the center because that's where I'm going to put it on the score line, our fold line here. Okay, I'm going to fold that up and then line up the points and get our sentiment and some more dimensionals. Dimensionals are foam dots. That's Stampin' Up's word for foam dots, is Stampin' Dimensional, because it adds dimensions to our cards and our other projects. That's going to go right in the center of our snowflake. And then we'll get our gems. And let's put some blue on here. Let's do that. So just kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay, and then there's our second card using this set of products. So pretty. Look how pretty that is. I just love it. Love it. Okay, that's our second card. We got one more card to do here for our class. And this one, we are going to not die cut. I wanted to share with you how you can just use your mask and your stamp set without, basically as a little bit of a background to it. The color inspiration on this one came from the Peaceful Gardens glimmer paper. Even though this says that it's Misty Moonlight, this glimmer paper reads more like Blueberry Bushel. So I used a Blueberry Bushel cardstock and color theme for this one. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do this. Now I'm going to do this a little differently than what I have on my sample here, just to show that you don't necessarily need the outline. If you don't want to, we're just going to use the mask itself for both components here. Okay, so a little deviation from what would be in my PDF if you get the, you get the class, or if you're on my team, you'll get the tutorial. This is just an alternate way of looking at it. Okay, so let's put these off to the side. All right, we can kind of do a little bit of a twofer here. Both of these basic whites need 2 basic whites, 5 1/4 by 4. And let's go ahead and I'm going to use, let's go for it. All right, so here's number 1. And this is going to be our front of our card. So forget what I was saying about that. It's like, this is definitely going to be, you don't need the dies, and it's just using the mask for it. Whoops, let me get this tape down. My brain was going in another direction that wasn't what I needed it to do. Okay, we need number 1 for the outline. Oh, goodness. And I've even had lots of coffee. And I'll get this centered on the card. And so every time you put this down, you'll need to make a new mark. And so let's see, I'm going to go over to this side here because I'm going to do a couple of layering or use the first 2 of the mask. Okay. On the outline of this time I'm using Blueberry Bushel. Okay, so I've got my outline. Again, you can really, the darker the ink, the more you can kind of see, oops, don't need to do that. I have to stamp first, silly Dee. Okay, let's get this one down here first. See how good I can do here. Okay, we'll get that stamped. Okay, now I'm ready for my mask. Get that lined up. You can really probably see it on camera well on that one. And let me make my other line again. I'm going to just write this so I know which one. All right, so now I'm going to come in with the Balmy Blue again. And I don't need to clean it because this was the last color that I used, but I am going to pick up some of the ink. And I'm just going to do one, use just the top one here. So I'm just going to do number 1 because we're going to cover majority of it up with some of our glimmer paper using the dies from the bundle. Okay, that looks good. And so even if you just wanted to use just one of the masks to get your color, look how pretty that is. So pretty. Okay. I'm going to do my little spritz and get some sparkle on this one and let that dry. So I've got spritzing off camera in my little, I've got a cardboard box that protects it. So I don't know if you can see the sparkle on it, but there it goes. And then for the inside, what I did on this one, I used number 1. So I used like number 1 and number 1 on here, but let's just mix it up a little bit. And let's put number 3 on the inside. Just to kind of, I just want to share that you can use these other, like it doesn't have to be just 1 and 2 for the inside. Like you can kind of have some fun with it. Again, I'm not doing any other layering, so I'm just going to, I don't have to, what do I want to say? I don't have to mark it off if you just do one of the mask. Okay, let's see, do this one. Balmy Blue again, because I'm going to stamp the darker color over top of it for the sentiments. So I just want a little background of our snowflake. So again, you can use any of these for just some background patterns. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll use our Blueberry Bushel. And this time on the inside, we are going to do sending you joy and many delights. That's just going to go right in the center. And go ahead and use our little snowflakes. Oops. Let's see if I can go over that. Okay. Close enough. I'll take it. Okay. We are rounding home on our class. 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock of Blueberry Bushel. Fold in half. You can score it at 4 1/4 if you'd like. This time I'm going to take a piece of Smoky Slate cardstock. This is cut on the 8th. This is 5 and 3/8 by 4 and 1/8. 5 and 3/8 by 4 and 1/8 to get a nice little matting on here. So it's a super little contrast. What I wanted to do is pick up this like the silverish glimmer paper that we're going to use and kind of bring that in. So it's just 1/8 of an inch difference in the two papers. So just a little bit of a border on that. And then we'll put this on our card front. Okay, and then we'll put our sentiment on the inside. So again, if this is something that you're interested in, you know, getting the class kit and make it at home, please check the ordering information in the description of the email or of the below on the YouTube information here. Okay, so with that die set, I used the I used the detailed one with my glimmer paper to create this background. So again, this is the Peaceful Gardens glimmer paper. And then I used this one here next out of this is the cloud cover, kind of, it looks real silvery. And then with this die, I use the velvet paper. That is, and I used this the other week on the doves. This is the All Seasons Velvet. You get a red, green, and white tone. So I use the white velvet for that. And let's go ahead and we'll build all of these up. So we'll just kind of put some of the liquid glue on here. Just kind of use it kind of up in the air. And these all just line up as you would think. There's nothing, you know, fancy about it. You just put them on where the points of the snowflake ends. So pretty. On here. Might need just a little more glue around, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to stop at that. And then on the back of our velvet, I'm going to do the same thing. Probably would want to get out your silicone mat and some, you know, like sponge daubers or something and really get that covered well. And then again, this just lines right up. Just keep going point to point. And then it's got a little hexagon center. Let me kind of show you that. And you just kind of line up the center of it. And then these oval parts go onto the stem, so it intersects the oval. Okay. And then since this has a nice backing on it, we can add our dimensionals. And I'm going to, you know, it's a nice big area here. So don't be chintzy with your foam dots here with the dimensionals. We want to have nice support so it doesn't sag in the middle. You know, at least a good 5, maybe 6 even on here. You could go crazy if you wanted to and add more. Wouldn't hurt a darn thing. And now on this time, I don't want to cover it up exactly because it would defeat the purpose of having the mask. So this time I'm going to offset it so that a little bit of our stamping comes through on the background. And then let's add some more of our bling here. And I'm going to put 2 of them up here in the corner. One big, one little. And then maybe one of the big ones down here. And we're all set. Let me bring in all of our cards now that we made. So I hope that this is something that you either already have or you're interested in getting. This will give you 3 ideas that you can use to use your Snowy Delights bundle, or if you want me to do all of the work for you. As far as card prepping, please feel free to grab one of my class kits to go. Let me turn the camera around here. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing 3 cards that you can make using this bundle of Snowy Delights. If there's anything in this video class that you'd like, boy, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. So anyways, so thank you so much for joining me today, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. Hope you have a great day and happy crafting. Bye-bye.